Hello and welcome. We today have very special guest, Kyron Gosse. He is freedom expert, propertypreneur, author of the Freedom Investor Blueprint, who have a goal to help people quit their job for good, uh, secure passive income, and reach freedom thanks to investing into right properties. Kyron have tremendous results. The significant the results, he made $110,000 in just 3 months of passive income thanks to his system. So we are very interested to know what the system is. And Kyron, thanks a lot for you agreeing for this interview, and welcome. Uh, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
First question, Kiran, can you please tell about yourself a little bit, how you get involved into passive income, into investing into passive income property, and what led you to become such an expert?
Yeah, no problem. My story started just in a job like most people,
Mhm.
and I got taught that if you get a good job, if you work your way up the ranks, and then
Mhm.
you like what you get taught at school, do well, get a good job, climb a rank, start investing in property, get married, buy a house, all that sort of thing. Except my problem is I'm originally a chef. And so I
Ah.
chased for money. I got the best jobs I could. I ended up working on the oil rigs of Australia. And at 24, I was earning $125,000 a year, going, well, as a chef, this is kind of it. I can't really earn that much more money as a chef.
Mhm.
And then I discovered this thing called passive income. And I was like, wait, I can get paid for not having to work?
Mhm.
This is amazing. And I decided I'd much rather earn $30,000 passively
Mhm.
than $125,000 earned income, because the most important thing was your time. And
Mhm.
here's the thing most people don't actually click to is if you can earn $30,000 without having to work,
Mhm.
you've still got all that spare time. I mean, you're going to get bored.
Mhm.
That's a reality. You create all this freedom, and then suddenly you've got too much freedom. You get bored, and so you're going to go do something anyway. It's just you have choices. And so with all that extra time, you can go and make more money doing something you love. You just don't have to work to do it. So I got involved with property. My parents have always done property. I come from New Zealand, which is, everyone's very property orientated. I was living in Australia, which again is property orientated. So that was probably the best strategy for me.
Mhm.
And I found a couple of mentors and they taught me what to do. And then one day I just decided, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it full time. So I quit my job and I just jumped into the property market, and it was sink or swim. I had to make it work, and I made it work.
Hmm. That's amazing. Many people believe that in order to invest into passive income, the property, you need to have large amounts of money. That's why many people staying away from the investment into the property. So, do you believe that you need to have large amounts of money to invest, and what minimum amount of money you need to have in order to invest into passive income property?
As long as you've got the knowledge, you can make anything happen. There's so many resources
Mhm.
out there that you can make anything happen. You can
Mhm.
joint venture with other people.
Mhm.
So actually, yeah, you can get started with absolutely nothing. And in my system, the first thing I teach people is that you need to have the cash flow, because if you don't have the cash flow coming in every day, then
Mhm.
you're going to get stuck, especially when you start trying to build the equity side of the portfolio. And so, yeah, there are ways that you can get out and you can start making extra cash flow
Mhm. Mhm.
just with no money at all. You could rent out extra houses in your bedroom, in your house. You could do that through Airbnb. You could go and take a lease out on a property and then rent each bedroom out by the room, which is going to be a an excess of what it costs you to rent the whole property. You could go get a lease out on a property and then do it via Airbnb. All those require no money.
Mhm. I see. I see, but the classical case, you still need the down payment, right? If you are investing into property or coming to the bank, you need at least something, right? 30% or 20% or something?
No, no.
Huh.
You could go out today and you could find someone who has taken on a mortgage which is bigger than they can handle, or you can go find a property where they're struggling to pay their mortgage,
Uh-huh.
and you can simply come in and you can take over their mortgage for them
Uh-huh.
using the right paperwork, and you take possession of the property without taking ownership of the property, but you've now got full possession of the property, so you can rent it out, you can do what you want with that property, and all you've done is just take over the mortgage repayment, so there's no deposit necessary.
Hmm. That's amazing. Are you on the teaching all of these and the techniques how to find this kind of properties?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I
that's
take on my
amazing.
students and we create an individual strategy for them because I
Mhm.
don't believe that one size fits all.
Mhm.
So we create an individual strategy and then I teach them what they need to do in order to be able to do those sorts of deals. I've got one guy, you do need to be careful depending on where you are in the world because this is illegal in some places, but he's a licensed real estate agent, so he's allowed to do it. But
Mhm.
all he does is he just finds someone who's struggling with their mortgage,
Mhm.
someone who wants to buy a property but can't, matches the two up together, and
Mhm.
he creates passive income from the middle
Mhm.
simply by helping each other out.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Kiran. Can you tell, please, what is so good into investing into property? What are the benefits to invest, and why property is the main vehicle in your system to reach financial freedom?
Property is highly leverageable. If you
Mhm.
look at everything out there, you've got shares, which
Mhm.
you can't really leverage them at all. But property is still the one where you can go in and use your negotiation tactics. You can
Mhm.
leverage highly. So if you've got $100,000, that's going to buy you a $500,000
Mhm.
asset.
Mhm.
Whereas in shares, if you've got $100,000, that buys you $100,000 worth of assets. And the thing about property is if it increases in value,
Mhm.
then you keep that entire increase. So a $500,000 asset increasing by 10% is
Mhm.
$50,000,
It's
whereas a
obvious.
$100,000
Yeah.
shares increasing by
Yeah.
10% is $10,000.
Right, right.
But
I see.
that is a double-edged sword if it comes down.
Mhm.
But that's just by being very knowledgeable and doing your homework and getting educated, and it
Mhm.
really helps. The other thing about property is, well, it doesn't really go down to zero
Mhm.
with shares, with business. It can just plummet. It can be
Mhm.
worth absolutely
Mhm.
nothing. Whereas you think about it, if the value of a house comes down to zero,
Mhm.
then there's going to be a lot more problems in the economy than
In the
what
world.
you're dealing with your house.
Exactly, exactly, Kieran. Please, can you tell about your system to invest into passive income property? And uh, it's not about the property, how you reach the financial the freedom, right? It's not only about that. So the main issue is to get the freedom. And can you
Yeah,
tell more?
exactly. Exactly. So property is just a vehicle.
Mhm,
It's just a stepping stone to get you to where you want to be. And it's a very
mhm,
easy vehicle to invest in
mhm,
and to utilize. And as I was talking about earlier, to leverage.
mhm,
So what you've got to do is start with the end in mind, which is the thing most people don't do.
mhm,
They simply go out and they say, yeah, that's a nice house, I'm going to buy it,
mhm,
but that's not really what helps you to get to where you want to be. So people start buying these houses and they get addicted to buying houses.
mhm,
But in the end, they just end up with all these houses and they're going to be in the position that those houses let them be in. So instead, we turn that around and we say, where do you want to get to?
mhm,
And then every house you buy is a specific type of house
mhm,
which is getting you closer and closer to where you want to be. So
mhm,
if you wanted to make, say, $1,000 a week,
mhm,
instead of going out and just buying any house, you're going to probably break that down into 5 steps and buy 5 different houses, which are making $200 a week.
mhm,
If you wanted to get a lump sum amount of money in order to quit your job for a year,
mhm,
and use that year to really set yourself up, then you're going to be buying a different type of property to the guy who's buying the $200 per week property.
mhm, mhm,
So it all starts with you. It all starts with what your current situation is, what your current resources are, and what your goal is. Most people either have time, they've got skills and knowledge, or they've got money. And so it's just utilizing what you've already got.
And you individually see each student and can provide the individual approach and individual in the program how the particular student can come closer and come quicker to the freedom, right?
Exactly. Like if you look at the traditional way of investing, it's to start accumulating houses with the hope that in 20, 30 years' time, the rent from the properties are going to be enough in order to cover your expenses and to allow you to quit your job. But, 20 to 30 years' time is way too far away. If you're stuck, a lot of people don't even start thinking about investing until they're in their 40s and 50s. In which case, that's like 70, 80 by the time you're actually getting enough cash flow from the properties in order to retire. So you need to do something a lot sooner, and not just for retirement, but just for fun. And that's why we create it now, so that you can have that freedom now while you're still young. And like I said, everyone's coming from a different place, so we just need to match what your individual circumstances are into the best way forward for you. And I think the way I'm able to do that so much better than a lot of people is because property is simply a business. And that's what we call mum and dad investors don't realize is that it's a business. So once you start approaching property with business principles, you can really skyrocket it and have it work for you.
You are quite persuasive, and this is very interesting what you are talking about. Can you tell approximately? I understand that each case is different, each person is different, but in average, for how long average person can come to the freedom following your system?
I'd say, like you said, it's going to be different for everyone. And it depends how hungry you are. I think having that hunger for success is the most important thing. But I'd say most people can be out of their job within a year. So my system, it's more about having that freedom than having wealth. Because once you've got the freedom, you can go and create wealth. So there are many different strategies that you can take in order to get out of your job, to start living that life, to start building a business around what you love or just enjoying what you do. And while it may not, I don't think there's anything which is completely passive. You've still got to manage the managers. You've still got to ensure things are flowing. But all you're doing is just building up a team. You're systemizing, you're automating. And then, if you have to spend 1 hour every week just to come in and make sure that everything's flowing properly, that there's no problems, and coming in and doing damage control every now and then, I think that's a lot better than having to work in a job for 50 years.
Exactly.
So I do believe that everybody should be able to do it within a year if they set their mind to it.
That's amazing. Thank you, Kyron. Can you give, please, what are your 3 secrets to give out about investing into passive income property?
3 secrets. Well, if I give them, they won't be a secret. Again, we've talked about it this whole way through. It's know why you're buying. That's the biggest, not secret, but the biggest tip I could give is really know why you're buying. 2, get educated in order to make the right decisions to ensure that each property is getting you to where you want to be. And if you've got properties in your portfolio which aren't helping you, then get rid of them. I always got taught, treat your houses or your properties as you would an employee. So if you've got an employee who's not showing up to work, he's not helping you make money, he's not providing value to the business, you'd fire them. So do the same with your property. And so that would be my 3rd one, is to do regular checks, do the numbers regularly, make sure everything is on track and working with your properties.
Thank you, Kyron. Out of your experience, can you please tell what are some of the common problems that people experience in investing into passive income property, and what are mistakes that some people do or some investor may make while investing into passive income properties?
There's three roadblocks most people hit it, and that's lack of income, lack of deposit money, or lack of capital. And so that's where my system is able to help, because you get the cash flow from it, and it's all about increasing cash flow. And then you start doing profit deals. So cash flow is the money which comes in every day, every week. It's like your job, right? It's just money which is constantly coming in. And then you've got profit, which is every 3, 4, however many months, you do a deal which brings in a big lump sum of money. And then you've got equity, which is where the properties are growing by themselves.
Okay.
And that's what creates your true wealth. So most people, they try to be too passive. So I say you should be active and passive in each one of those areas. So if you're active in cash flow, you should be going out there, and that might be a job, it might be your business. But then you want to automate your cash flow. So you've got the cash flow coming in each week, and then become active in, say, profit deals. So you've already got the cash flow coming in, and now you're going to go out and do big lump sum profit deals. That money comes in, that allows you to keep buying properties because you've got the cash flow coming in and you've got money for deposits or paying off debt. And then it's building that buy and hold portfolio, which again, as that increases in value, as you buy more and more buy and hold properties, that also increases your cash flow. And it just creates one big ecosystem, which each property helps you buy the next. Each section helps you with the next section. And that's what most people don't get, that you need to have three. If you look at any business out there, if you look at Virgin, they have the cash flow coming in, they do profit deals, and then they invest in equity. Any telco, they do special deals, like they put you on a month-to-month contract because they know they're going to have each month that money coming in. And then they do profit deals where they'll do a special and they sell everything at a discount, but they know they're going to have this big lump sum amount of money come in. And then they invest in things like having the right infrastructure, because they know that they can actually lease out some of that infrastructure to other telcos. So every big business out there does it. You need to apply business strategies to your investing in order to have the same. So it's cash flow, profit, and equity or capital.
Thank you, Kyron. You are talking about very amazing issues and about your system. And can you tell, please, what product or what coaching program do you have? And can you please tell more about that?
Yep, so I created the Freedom Investor Blueprint, and like I said, it's because most people just accumulate properties without having a specific reason to. So I turn it on its head, and we create freedom, build wealth, because most people just want to do what they love most. So it's a 12-month coaching program where they come on board and they go through the inform section. So they learn through at their own pace. It's self-study. And then they've got me to bounce off to help them when they're looking at specific properties, putting it in offers and making deals happen. For most people out there, I'd say what you need to just start with is my quick start guide. So that is $97, and that's going to really help you to figure out why you want to invest, what you're trying to achieve out of it, and how to select the right strategy. And from there, I mean, for $97, that's absolutely nothing. That's you should basically do that just to get that sort of guidance and figure out if property is even right for you. And from there, you can start having a conversation about whether it's right for you to come on to the year-long program or not.
Kyron, what is the price of this 12 months coaching program you mentioned?
That all depends on the day. It's worth about $25,000. Usually I sell it for $7,000, but if I'm doing a special event, then sometimes I do put it on special.
Even less, okay. Yeah, I see. I see. Kyron, can you tell what trends in passive income property investment do you see now? Can you tell about that?
I'd say the biggest trend that we're starting to see a lot more collaboration, and this is amongst the world over the world as a whole, not necessarily in property investing, but collaboration. Everyone's collaborating,
Hmm.
so we're seeing it with knowledge and shared knowledge. We're seeing it with people just wanting to take on projects, things
Hmm.
that, like I said, people want to follow their purpose. So
Hmm.
there are people out there doing this sort of thing absolutely free because they want to create
Hmm.
something awesome.
Hmm.
And I think we're starting to see that in property as well. I think the biggest trend coming through, which is really changing property, is crowdfunding,
Hmm.
which means you don't even need to be able to get bank finance anymore.
Hmm.
So you can simply go out there and go to the crowd, get the crowd involved, and they're making money because they're putting their cash in and getting a return, and it's better than a bank return.
Hmm.
And at the same time, you're making money because you're able to do the deal.
Hmm. Yes, I see. Hmm.
So I think crowdfunding is really what's changing things up in the property investing world and making it a more level playing field, which means anyone can jump in and do it.
Hmm. I see. Hmm. Thank you, Kieran. Can you tell, please, what one need to do to stay on top?
It's like anything,
Hmm.
just constantly being there, constantly learning. I'd
Hmm.
say that's the biggest thing. I hate being called an expert. I call myself a leading learner
Hmm.
because there's always something new coming through. There's always something new to learn about.
Hmm.
So if you're always there learning from the best, connecting with the best, brainstorming about how you can bring in new ideas into property investing,
Hmm.
then that's how you're going to be the best. Staying in touch with your area and staying within your niche, not
Hmm.
expanding too
Hmm.
big
Hmm.
until you're at that right time.
Hmm. Hmm. I see, Kieran. We little bit overcome our time, but I have two last in the question and then we finish. Okay.
No problem.
Can you tell, please, where people can find more information about you and your company, and how people can contact you in order to get involved in this amazing opportunity?
Yeah, the best way is just to go to thefreedominvestor.com. That's
Hmm.
my personal website. That's
Hmm.
going to give you some insight, some more insight into me
Hmm.
and what I do. And there's a few links on there which will allow you to go check out the program,
Hmm.
check out some of the live deals I've done, and be able to get in touch with me if you need to. Otherwise, I'm all over social media. You just need to Google me and you'll find me.
Hmm. Okay, Kieran. And what advice can you give for passive income, the property investor?
Just remember why you're doing it. Have that big reason why. Go from the heart and, really just follow your purpose. I
Hmm.
honestly believe that everyone has a higher purpose. They've all got something else
Yeah.
that they should be doing, a purpose they should be following.
Hmm.
And property is one way that they can utilize to create the financial freedom, the financial stability in order for them to live their purpose more.
Hmm.
So make sure you follow your purpose and you just do what you love.
Thank you very much, Kieran. That was wonderful interview. You shared a lot of really valuable information and create a great value for our listeners. Thanks a lot.